Hey, what's up everyone? It's Digital Feeds back here again, and this is the DJI Mic Mini 2. I was really excited to use this one, especially after loving how simple and reliable the original Mic Mini was. Now, there's a handful of refinements in this one. Swappable magnetic front covers, voice tone presets, and a more refined design. Oh, and it's actually cheaper this time around too, but more on that later. I'll get into all of that, but first let's see what's inside the box. In the box, you get two transmitters and one receiver along with a charging case that holds them together. Now, DJI actually sells the Mic Mini 2 in a few different configurations. You can get just a standalone transmitter, a basic one transmitter and one receiver kit, a mobile kit with one transmitter and a mobile receiver, or a two transmitter mobile kit. I went with the full kit, two transmitters and the standard receiver, which is what you're seeing me unbox right now. There's also a pair of wind muffs, a 3.5mm auxiliary cable for connecting to the camera, and a USB cable for charging everything up. They've also thrown in a user manual, a couple of DJI stickers, and a small carrying bag to keep everything organized when you're on the move. Honestly, it's a pretty complete kit straight out of the box. You're not scrambling to buy extra accessories to just get started. And then there's the thing I mentioned earlier in the video, the swappable front covers. DJI includes a whole set of magnetic front covers packed in their own separate carrying case. And honestly, when I first popped that little case open, I wasn't expecting this many colors. We've got black, white, pink, yellow, blue, purple, and green to choose from. That's basically a little rainbow sitting there before I've even touched the mics themselves. They snap on and off in about 2 seconds thanks to the magnetic design. And that alone had me swapping through all of them before I'd even started testing anything. On the original Mic Mini, you were stuck with whatever single color you bought. No swapping, no extras. So seeing DJI throws in this many options right out of the box is a genuinely nice upgrade. It's clear they are leaning into creators who care how their setup looks on camera, not just how it sounds. If you color coordinate your desk or your outfits for content, this is a small thing that's actually going to matter to you. There's one more design change I think matters more on a daily basis. On the original Mic Mini, the clip was fixed, permanently attached to the transmitter body. On the Mini 2, that clip is magnetic too, so you can pop it off completely. Which means if you don't want a visible magnet in short, you can just use the magnet on its own. Small change, but once you're using this daily, you notice how much more flexible it makes wearing the mic. Interestingly, you can attach the clip in whatever orientation you want so the mic is facing towards the actual audio source, which is another thoughtful design choice. The new transmitter also has a flatter profile on the front where you put the covers, which is a substantial change from the original Mic Mini's curved design. Now coming to the receiver, it's still almost the same as the previous generation, which means it's still on the bulkier side and a little big for my taste. I mean seriously, this was one of my major complaints with the original Mic Mini, the receiver's design. And as you can see, it's still the same old protruding receiver if you film on your phone. When you clip this onto a phone for a quick handheld shot, it does feel a little chunky next to the transmitter itself. DJI does sell a separate smaller mobile-only receiver as a workaround, so that option exists. But I would generally like to see DJI shrink the main receiver down in a future version. Now let's talk about the charging case for a second because there's actually some good design thinking here. So just like the original, the lid is held shut with magnets, but there's also a real latch. You push it to release and it locks back into place when you close it. Pop it open and the transmitters and receiver drop straight into their own magnetic slots. Everything seats instantly and snugly, and each piece is shaped so it can really only go in one way. So you're not fumbling around figuring out where anything goes. On the back, there's a USB-C port for charging, and on the front there are 4 status lights that show you how much charging is left and how much has topped it off if it's currently charging. So they actually blink to indicate the level. As for the size, it's not exactly tiny. This isn't something that disappears into a small pocket, but it will fit in a bigger pocket if you have got one, and it slides into a bag or purse without any issue. Now let's talk about battery life because this actually holds up well for a mic this small. The transmitter is rated for about 11 hours of continuous recording on a full charge. The receiver runs a little less, around 10 hours. For most shoots, that's honestly more than enough to get you through a full day without ever thinking about it. When you do need to recharge, the transmitter takes about 70 minutes to fully charge and the receiver takes around 100 minutes. And using the charging case, you're not just topping off once. It can fully recharge both transmitters and the receiver about 3.5 times before the case itself needs plugging in. The case takes around 2 hours to charge up fully. So realistically, if you keep the case topped off, you're looking at several days of shooting before you need to find a wall outlet. In my own testing, this pretty much matched what DJI advertises. No surprises here, it just does what it says. Alright, let's do a quick rundown of the buttons and ports on both PCs because there's actually more going on here than you would expect. Starting with the transmitter, there are two buttons, a power button and a link button. There are also two tiny lights, one for status and one for noise cancellation. Now let's move to the receiver, and this is where things get a little more involved. You've got a gain knob to manually dial in your input levels, an auxiliary port and a USB-C port. There's also a small removable cover that lets you swap out the USB adapter so you can go from plugging into your phone to plugging into your PC. Just like the transmitter, the receiver has its own power button and a link button. For status lights, there are two of them, one for each transmitter's connection, plus a separate power light. One more thing worth pointing out, the receiver has built-in clip. You can clip into your shirt, your belt, your cap, wherever works for you. And that same clip actually doubles as a quick shoe mount for the camera. Setting this up with your phone is pretty simple. You will need the USB adapter that's included in the box. Clip that onto the receiver and plug it straight into your phone. If you're on a Mac or PC, you will need a USB-C connection as well. You can either use the same adapter or just plug directly into the USB-C port on the receiver itself. Both work fine. Going straight into the USB-C port also means that same cable can charge the receiver on its own without needing the charging case. For camera users, you would connect through the auxiliary port instead, using the cable that's included for that as well. There's also a Bluetooth option if you want to skip the receiver altogether. Double press the link button on the transmitter and it switches into Bluetooth pairing mode, so you can connect it straight to your phone or a DJI Osmo. Just keep in mind, Bluetooth doesn't give you nearly as clean audio. The quality takes a real hit compared to going through the receiver. Now all of that gets you audio in, but if you actually want to change any settings, you will need the DJI Mimo app. It's available on both Android and iOS, and it's also where you will go for firmware updates. Inside the app, you can toggle noise cancellation between basic and strong, and switch between the normal, bright and rich voice tone presets. You can also set your audio channel to mono or stereo, turn the mic's status LED on and off, and adjust clipping control and low cut settings. There's also a safety track recording option in there, which records a backup track alongside your main audio in case anything clips. One thing worth knowing, to actually make any of these changes, your transmitter needs to be connected to your phone through the app. So if you're recording into a camera, you will want to dial in your settings beforehand, since you can't just hop into the app and adjust things mid-shoot. Since you are hearing this entire review through the Mic Mini 2 right now, you already have a good sense of how it sounds in a normal environment. But let's get into specifics. DJI kept the same core audio engine as the original Mic Mini, 48 kHz, 24-bit recording. You get two levels of active noise cancellation, basic and strong, depending on how noisy your environment is. There's also automatic limiting built in, so a sudden loud sound doesn't clip your audio and ruin a take. What's new this generation is voice tone presets. You can pick between regular, bright and rich, depending on how you want your voice to sit. I'm actually recording this review on the regular tone preset with a bit of EQ applied afterward in post. Bright adds more presence up top, which helps if your voice tends to sound a little muffled. Rich warms things up, which I think suits deeper voices or more relaxed conversational content. It's a nice option to have, even if I still touch it up a little in post myself. Alright, let's actually test the raw audio, because talking about sound quality only gets you so far. Here's the same line indoors with noise cancellation off. Hey, this is a quick audio test for the DJI Mic Mini 2 and I'm indoors right now, so let's pause for a second and listen to the room. Now here's that same line indoors with basic noise cancellation turned on. Hey, this is a quick audio test for the DJI Mic Mini 2 and I'm indoors right now, so let's pause for a second and listen to the room. And here's that same line again indoors with strong noise cancellation. Hey, this is a quick audio test for the DJI Mic Mini 2 and I'm indoors right now, so let's pause for a second and listen to the room. You can hear the difference get more aggressive as you step up each level. Now let's take this outside. Here's the line outdoors with noise cancellation off. Alright, I've stepped outside for this next test, so let's pause again and listen to what's going on around me. Here's that same line outdoors with basic noise cancellation. Alright, I've stepped outside for this next test, so let's pause again and listen to what's going on around me. And here's that same line outdoors with strong noise cancellation. Alright, I've stepped outside for this next test, so let's pause again and listen to what's going on around me. Outdoors is really where you can hear strong mode earns its keep, especially with winds and street noise in the mix. Indoors, honestly, basic is usually enough. You might not even need strong. Outdoors, that's where I've actually reached for strong mode. One thing I wanted to test myself instead of just repeating DJI's number is range. DJI claims up to 400 meters with standard receiver. So after setting the receiver up, recording continuously, I started walking away with the transmitter. I tested this at a bunch of different distances and the audio stayed clean through most of it. In complete line of sight, it held up clear almost all the way out to that 400 meter mark. But once walls came into the picture, I did notice a slight drop in quality. So if you've got a clear line of sight to the receiver, that range number holds up. Indoors or with obstructions in the way, just expect it to fall off a bit sooner than that. So where does that leave things? The Mic Mini 2 is a generally solid pick if you're buying your first compact wireless mic. The audio quality holds up, the noise cancellation actually works, and the range covers pretty much any real shooting scenario. Battery life holds up through full days of testing too, so that's one less thing to worry about. The magnetic covers, the swappable clip and the voice tone presets are all generally nice touches that make daily use better. My only real gripe is the receiver size. I would still like to see that shrink down. And at $99 for everything you get in the box, it's generally hard to argue with the value here. Unlike some gear I've tested and moved on from, this one's earning a permanent spot in my kit. And that's my full take on the DJI Mic Mini 2. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. I've got more tech reviews like this one coming. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.